All right, welcome to Hoops Tonight here at The Volume. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hope all of you guys are having a great week. Got a jam-packed show for you today. I'm going to give you guys 10 big takeaways from last night's games. I had a nice night where I was able to kind of bounce around and watch a bunch of hoops from a bunch of different games. We're going to do 10 quick breakdowns, and then I'm going to do a film session in the tail end of the show. So those of you guys who are listening on the podcast feed, once we get past the monologue, you're going to want to make your way back over to YouTube for the best experience there, because I've got a lot of film. I've got 43 clips. I think we're hitting like a half dozen different games, a bunch of stuff to get into in the film session. You guys know the drill. Before we get started, subscribe to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel so you don't miss any more of our videos. Follow me on Twitter at _JasonLT so you guys don't miss show announcements. Don't forget about our podcast feed, wherever you get your podcasts under Hoops Tonight. We also have new social media feeds on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook that are under the header Hoops Tonight. We're going to be releasing a bunch of content on there this year, so make sure you guys get over there and follow. And then last but not least, keep dropping mailbag questions in the YouTube comments. We are going to do at least a mailbag every Friday from this point forward. That's kind of part of our routine. So I'm going to be pulling them from the YouTube comments throughout the week. So make sure you guys get those comments in there, or those questions in there. All right, let's talk some basketball. Actually, real quick, before we get started, I got to talk to you guys about Game Time. So this is the best time of year to get out and see events. We've got the NBA in full swing, NFL's in full swing, college football's in full swing, college basketball started last night. We had Cooper Flagg's debut, all sorts of awesome live events to go to. That doesn't even count concerts and comedy shows that are happening all around the country. And there's nothing like being there in person, especially a basketball game. When you're at a basketball game in person, you can pick up on the chatter that's taking place on the floor, the body language of the guys that's in the huddles and on the bench. You get a totally different sense and feel for the physicality. There's the crowd dynamics as things shift back and forth, especially when you go to a good college basketball game that's got a good rivalry feel, right? Like there's just nothing like being there in person. Get out of the house. I know the TV is a great experience, but there's nothing like being there in person watching these games. Make sure you guys get out there and check out one of these events. This is where Game Time comes in. They have an incredible experience. I've personally used them many times. They consistently give me the best experience in the ticket buying space. I highly recommend it to you guys. They have all-in pricing, so you know exactly what you're paying before you go to check out. You get a picture of your seat from within the app, so you know what you're buying with your money. It's not convoluted. You can check out in as soon as 2 taps. They have a new program called Game Time Picks, which curates the feed, right? You go to a typical ticket buying app, and there's usually thousands and thousands of tickets, and you feel like you're sorting through a lot of junk, right? Game Time Picks curates the best deals from that specific event, so you can be very efficient as you're looking through trying to find tickets to an event. I highly recommend it to you guys. You got to check it out. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code HOOPS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code HOOPS. That's HOOPS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. All right, let's talk some basketball. So again, I watched a bunch of bits and pieces from a bunch of different games. So rather than like doing super big deep dives into individual games, I want to kind of bounce around with 10 takeaways, and then we'll get into our film. So first takeaway, Cade Cunningham has the potential to be a really impactful two-way player. The Pistons-Lakers game last night was really fascinating in the sense that, like, the Lakers are a team that typically physically bullies you. That's what their advantage is, right? Like the Lakers are a paint-dominant team, but they do it without getting a lot of dribble penetration. It's a lot of rolling hard into the paint, cutting hard into the paint, posting and trying to generate rim pressure by just backing dudes down and trying to play bully ball around the basket, right? And the Lakers got bullied last night. They ran into another really big front line. Jalen Green played great. Isaiah Stewart played great. Cade Cunningham played great. Tobias Harris played great. And that really is the key, is all 4 of those guys can reasonably well guard LeBron and AD on an island. None of them can get completely shredded in bully situations. Like both Tobias Harris and Cade Cunningham did a really nice job guarding LeBron James and Anthony Davis in individual post-up situations. Cade did a great job on LeBron. He did about as good a job as I've seen a player on LeBron that's given up some weight and size in a very long time, forced him consistently into those right shoulder turnarounds that he wasn't able to make. LeBron wasn't able to really leverage his size inside. And again, like you always want to have defensive versatility, right? We've seen throughout this season, like Jalen Green when he runs into spacing bigs, kind of like what happened to Karl Towns the other day, he kind of gets lost. He doesn't know where to be. His big man instincts that drag him into the paint keep causing him to lose shooters off the ball. It's a little bit of a rough look. But when they run into a power front line, it's actually a really nice matchup for Detroit. And one of the specific things that Detroit did last night was they did a lot of switching. When you have four guys between Tobias Harris, Cade Cunningham, Isaiah Stewart, and Jalen Duren at various points in the game, they were even able to put Cade on Austin for stretches and switch the LeBron Austin ball screen. And if you guys remember, and we're going to talk about this as one of the other takeaways, that can be a weakness for the Lakers, which we're going to get to in a second, and they were able to capitalize on that. I also thought Cade Cunningham on the offensive end was unbelievable last night. Just picked the Lakers apart down the stretch, picking on matchups, hunting Austin Reaves, hunting Rui Hachimura. Like, he straight up posted Rui Hachimura and bullied him to his spot, hit a nice little left shoulder fade, spun off of him and drew a foul. He was getting buckets on Austin Reaves. He was just frying every single one of the Lakers' perimeter defenders. I thought Cade was amazing last night. It was just kind of like a little glimpse into what he can be, which is a really interesting two-way player that can pick teams apart in the half court, but he also has enough size and quickness to be pretty versatile defensively and unlock a switching look. And that's, again, when you're talking about defensive versatility, it'd be nice if the Pistons just had a really good switching look and didn't always have to feel like they need to run a drop coverage. It's a way to kind of give yourself that defensive versatility. Really impressive win for the Pistons last night. Again, we have a tendency as fans, and I'm sure Lakers fans are thinking of this, and we're going to talk some Lakers today, but Lakers fans and a lot of other fans, we have a tendency to be like, oh, we just didn't play hard tonight, or oh, like we're bullshitting out there. This isn't what we really are. And it's like, yeah, there's always a little bit of that. Like, that's certainly part of it. I think even Pistons fans would agree if like the Lakers and the Pistons played a playoff series tomorrow that the Lakers are beating them, right? Like, it's not about that, but sometimes we do a bad job of acknowledging what the winner did in those types of situations. I thought the Pistons played a great game. I thought they brought incredible physicality. They talked a bunch of shit and they backed it up with the way that they were playing. Jaden Ivey was incredible. Cade was incredible. Isaiah Stewart was incredible. Tobias Harris made a bunch of big plays. It was just a really impressive win. So shout out to the Detroit Pistons. Number two, the Lakers will struggle to beat teams that have big bodies that can switch LeBron AD actions. And like we talked about earlier, the guard action with Austin Reaves, right? This was something going way back to the Lakers season preview, if you guys remember. One of the biggest weaknesses for the Lakers over the course of the last several seasons has been running into switching defenses. And one of the main reasons why is, think of it like this. Switching defenses shut down screening actions. One of the most important parts of what makes the Lakers offense successful is roll man possessions and cut possessions and weak side skips, right? So like everything that they get out of ball screens, right? So they run a ball screen and they hit AD on the roll and he makes like a little floater in the lane, or he gets a dunk, right? Or it's like, oh, you stay home on the roller, the pick and roll ball handler it hits a shot off the glass or something like that. Or, oh, they stepped over to help on AD on the roll, so Rui cuts along the baseline and they hit Rui and Rui dunks it on the baseline. Or they skip it to the other side of the floor and Rui hits a three in the corner or something like that. Like, they get a lot of their offense off of screening actions and rolling and cutting. Late game situations, it's like, we're going to spam the Austin LeBron ball screen. Why? Because typically teams won't switch it and they can get a pocket pass to LeBron, which allows him to get downhill without having to beat somebody off the dribble. The Lakers have to manufacture paint pressure through screening actions. And so when they run into switching schemes, that shuts off that automatic baked-in dribble penetration that they get, or cut or roll penetration that they get. And suddenly it becomes about, can LeBron James and Anthony Davis score in the post? And the reason why is because Austin is pretty good at creating his own shot, but he's not great at it. D'Lo, not great at creating his own shot. Rui, okay at it, not great at it. So when teams really tighten the screws defensively, it turns into, LeBron, can you back your man down and get a bucket? And Anthony Davis, can you draw a double team and make those kick out passes? And it's like, LeBron's backing down Cade Cunningham and Cade's holding his ground, and LeBron's taking that right shoulder fadeaway that he's never made over like 35% of the time in his entire career, right? You go to Anthony Davis in the post, he draws a double team, he rifles a pass right out of bounds in the right corner because, again, he's a capable kick out passer in those situations, but not great. Now, again, as far as the Lakers go against switching schemes in high leverage moments, I'm not as worried about it because LeBron James is going to play better. LeBron played really poorly last night. He really struggled to leverage his gifts in those post-up situations. I'm not worried about him. He has a weird habit of kind of getting stronger as the season goes along. He's clearly not really at full speed yet this season. And that's going to reflect poorly in games like this when the Lakers kind of come out flat. But in these kinds of regular season nights, when they run into a good athletic team that's switching action, it's can LeBron and AD dominate the game out of the post? They did not last night, and they lost. Do I think that LeBron and AD can leverage that when it comes time, when it's really winning time? Yeah, but they're inconsistent with it in the regular season. And that is a big part of why I said in the season preview for the Lakers, switching teams are going to cause the Lakers problems. It takes away their baked-in offensive advantages and forces them to earn those advantages through physical exertion, which LeBron and AD don't always want to do over the course of the regular season. Number 3, Austin Reaves may need to consider taking a few games off. I thought last night was one of probably the worst defensive game of Austin Reaves' career to this point. Was dying on screens everywhere, was routinely getting attacked one-on-one, was getting beat to the offensive glass. He looked a step slow. Austin, do I think he should be guarding the other team's best player every night? No, and that's something the Lakers need to address. But he is a good perimeter defender. He competes. He's got enough size to where he can at least kind of get in the way. He's good at poking the ball away when guys have size mismatches because he attacks down low instead of trying to contest up high. Austin is a solid defender. He's not good enough to be the best point of attack defender on a team, but he is a solid defender. But he was getting fried last night, and he looked a step slow. I understand you played 82 games last year. I understand you've played every game so far this season. I understand that's a point of pride. But at the end of the day, especially when they have got, like Cam Reddish stepped in and actually played pretty well last night. It's kind of funny. I don't think Cam Reddish should be playing as many minutes as Darvin Ham played him last year. But it's always funny when he checks into the game, how immediately you're like, oh shit, this is what it looks like when the Lakers have a 6'8" athlete on the floor with long arms who plays hard, right? Like you immediately go like, oh shit, like that's how good this looks next to LeBron and AD. And Cam's not even a very good player. He's just 6'8" and rangy and athletic, and he plays hard, and it kind of changes the dynamic of how the Lakers look athletically. But like, do I want Cam playing 20 minutes a night for a serious playoff team? No, but like he got some burn last night and he looked okay. And it's one of those things where it's like, let Cam step in for like, let Cam and Gabe and Dalton and Max and D'Lo run the backcourt for a few games. Get that ankle right, because like this team is they're already so unathletic on the perimeter. They can't also have Austin playing with a bad wheel and getting fried all over the floor. He needs to take some time, get that ankle right, get back to full speed so that he can be a more staunch force on the perimeter for the Lakers on defense. Number 4, Russell Westbrook is still one of the very best one-on-one get-a-stop guys in the NBA. Super interesting game between the Raptors and the Nuggets last night in Denver, as Toronto looked like they were going to sneak out of there with a win. Toronto's been really feisty. I was watching the Laker game the other night, and the Lakers jump them in the first half, and then the Raptors like really wore the Lakers down in the second half and made that into a game. Then they turned around and beat the Kings the next night. Then they turned around and went into Denver and had them dead to rights late before Jokic and the Nuggets out-executed them and ended up getting the win anyway. But like Toronto's a little feisty, and they've proven that over the course of the last week. So they end up in a late game situation where the Nuggets are up 121-119, and they run a play for RJ Barrett to get an ISO against Russell Westbrook on the left wing. And we're going to look at this play in a little bit more detail in the film session, but Russ did an incredible job of disrupting Barrett's rhythm from the start of the possession. Hard reach-ins, slapping at the basketball, making Barrett uncomfortable. A good hard bump on the one dribble drive that he made where he chested him up and hit a hard bump. By swiping at the basketball and by taking that hard bump, he took RJ Barrett out of his natural rhythm. Now, RJ Barrett still somehow got a shot up that went in and out and almost went in, but it was, again, that's playing the results. If that shot goes in, that's not Russell Westbrook's fault. I thought it was unbelievable defense on that final possession where he made RJ Barrett take an out of rhythm, janky, clunky step back three well above the break. I thought it was an awesome defensive play from Russell Westbrook, and that's a tough job because that's the job you're taking where it's like if he scores on me, I get roasted online for the next 24 hours, right? Like it's a tough job, and I thought Russ did a really really good job to close out that game for the Denver Nuggets. Number 5, Pascal Siakam has become one of the most devastating mismatch attackers in the post in the NBA. Down the stretch of the Mavs game, there was just not a player on the Mavs that could guard Pascal Siakam. Even when they went to PJ Washington late, he was just getting right around him and right to the rim. Now, the Mavs were having other problems. They continually gave up easy buckets on makes and on misses in transition as Indiana kind of exposed their lack of foot speed. And that's the thing, like, for one of the things that'll be a downside of going the Klay Thompson direction instead of the Derrick Jones Jr. Direction is you're just not as fast. And you're just up and down the floor in transition going to have some issues. And there's a lot of stuff that Indiana can expose with Dallas where it's like, oh, Tyrese Halliburton and Ben Mathurin are isoing Luka Doncic at the top of the key and just beating him off the dribble because they're faster. Oh, you made a shot in the lane. That's nice. Well, we're just going to run it right down the lane the other way, right down the floor in transition the other way, catch you in rotation, drive a closeout with Andrew Nembhard and get a layup. Like, even on every missed basket, they're looking to push up the floor, and they really, really exposed the Mavs for a lack of team speed. Actually, I should skip ahead. Number 6 is the Mavs with Klay Thompson will struggle against teams with speed. That was something that Indiana showed last night. Now, going back to number 5, Pascal did a lot of damage attacking out of the post against everybody that Dallas had because they didn't really have anybody that can guard him. And it's given Indiana a different look they can go to in the half court, especially now at this point in the season where Tyrese Halliburton is still kind of getting his legs underneath them. Pascal is getting 1.34 points per possession, including passes on post-ups, which is by far the best in the league among players who have run at least 25 this year. Those of you guys who are wondering who's in second place, it's Julius Randle with the Minnesota Timberwolves. But yeah, moving forward to number 6, I do think the Mavs will struggle against teams with speed. Their counter to that is going to have to be really sound execution on offense to try to prevent turnovers and bad misses that lead to transition pushouts. Floor balance, meaning like when guys miss shots, making sure that you're relocating on the perimeter so that you have guys that are back, and then just really good attention to detail and transition defense, sprinting, communicating, ball in basket first, then spreading out to shooters, at least making them make a jump shot in those situations. But again, that it just, you can make up for personnel limitations by being very sharp. But if you're not sharp and you're dealing with personnel limitation, that's when you can get exposed. Number 7, the Kings can really put you into some matchup problems. They closed with DeMar DeRozan, Malik Monk, and De'Aaron Fox last night, and the Heat just kind of run out of bodies, and it ended up being a lot of DeMar DeRozan attacking against Tyler Herro. DeMar DeRozan was unbelievable down the stretch of this game, caught Tyler Herro's hand in the cookie jar and hit a pull-up 3 at the top of the key. He isoed Bam Adebayo and hit a pull-up jump shot around the elbow. Like, he did the same thing to Anthony Davis in the Laker game where, like, it is a luxury for De'Aaron Fox and for Domantas Sabonis and for Malik Monk and for Mike Brown and the Kings that they have another guy that they can really lean on in these late game situations to generate offense. DeRozan was unbelievable down the stretch of this game as they stole a game from Miami. Miami was up 108-103. They got out of there. DeRozan hits that big a shot plus the foul. Sabonis gets a huge offensive rebound. Another play where he kind of was engaged with Bam and just hit him with a little swim move, get a little bit of separation, got that ball and just hit that little pop shot and stole a game in Miami against the Heat. The Kings are starting to play a little bit better. We'll be interested to see if they can get some momentum here. Number 8, Steph Curry, still really good at basketball. I've got a fun stretch for you Warriors fans in the film session where a late third quarter stretch where Steph just started spamming split action and other screening actions with Looney while he was being guarded by Jordan Poole. And he generated points on 5 out of 6 possessions by just making the right read every single time. I'm going to show you guys in the film session the way that he does it. But like, the Warriors team has got such a high floor. They're so good on defense. They're flying around. They've got so much speed. They're so good in transition. And now you're adding Steph Curry to the equation as a guy that can really methodically run half-court offense. Really, really excited to see how the Warriors perform against their next 4 opponents, which are all pretty tough. I think it's Celtics. I think the Cavs are in there. I want to say it's the Knicks 2, and then it's the Mavs. So they got 4 really, really tough games coming up. We'll get to learn a lot about the Golden State Warriors. Number 9, Jayson Tatum's pull-up jumper is on fire. He got a crazy hot streak against the Atlanta Hawks last night, just picking them apart with step-back threes and good playmaking and attacking in the post. Poor Dyson Daniels is too small for him. Really big game from him last night. But last year, Jayson Tatum was getting 0.96 points per pull-up jump shot off the dribble. This year, he's up to 1.08, a really positive trend for the Boston Celtics. And then finally, number 10, Jalen Green's shooting makes him into a very interesting prospect. Once again, last night, hit a really nice movement 3 coming up to the top of the key out of action in the half court. That movement 3 piece is going to be really exciting for him because he's such a good athlete that if he can get really consistent with that shot, he's going to become very difficult to guard. Remember, that's something that Tyrese Maxey added to his game, where it's like, I'm going to start in the right corner, just sprint up off of a double screen, catch at the top of the key, and just rise and fire. I don't have to deal with ball pressure. I don't have to deal with as much physicality. I can just run up and get the basketball and shoot. And he's a good enough athlete and he's vertical enough that he has such a high release point that it's a really difficult shot to guard. And then just like he did against the Dallas Mavericks after they cut the game down to 3, hits a massive pull-up 3 on the right wing that ices the game, puts the Knicks away. Big win for the Houston Rockets last night. A lot of teams in my power rankings lost last night, but the Houston Rockets did avail themselves well as they got a big win over a good team in the Eastern Conference. The Emirates NBA Cup is here, and you can win big getting in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All 30 teams split into 6 groups every Tuesday and Friday, playing for the right to advance in the single elimination in-season tourney, culminating in the NBA Cup championship in Vegas. Right now, the Boston Celtics are favored to win the NBA Cup at plus 370. The Oklahoma City Thunder have the second best odds at plus 600, and then the New York Knicks have the third best odds at plus 900. First time, here's something special just for you. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook. Every point counts. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code HOOPS. That's HOOPS. That's code HOOPS for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. All right, so our first clip. This is the Russell Westbrook defense clip. So once again, I want you guys to watch as Russ comes up on RJ Barrett. Watch how quickly he starts attacking the pocket to try to make RJ feel uncomfortable and disrupt his rhythm. You're going to see it almost immediately. So inbound, clear space, watch Russ. It's reach one, boom, poke at it. Poke at it again. Let's poke at it again. Here it comes. Boom. Just try to make him feel uncomfortable, messing up with his footwork. Then here comes the bump, right? Hard drive. Watch him beat him to the spot and bump him. Now he's off rhythm. Once again, so all he's done to this point is focus on attacking RJ Barrett's rhythm and his base. Again, he actually gets a really nice contest here too. Like, this is a great contest on the shot. Excellent contest, but he had a lot of opportunity early in the possession to disrupt the rhythm. Now, I want you to not pay attention to Russ at all for a second. Just watch RJ Barrett and watch his feet and watch how out of sorts he is this whole possession. By the way, great job from RJ Barrett still getting a decent look against really, really tough defense. But watch how like kind of disheveled this play looks because of Russ attacking early. Like, it just looks like he's a little bit unorthodox. So shout out to him for almost getting that thing to go in. But I thought that was incredible defense from Russell Westbrook. All right, moving on to the Lakers-Pistons game. There's an example of the Pistons with their size. So again, they have Isaiah Stewart, who they could put on Jackson Hayes in this lineup, right? But they have Tobias Harris that they can put on LeBron. And they have Cade Cunningham on Austin Reaves. And because Cade Cunningham is big, they can, when the Lakers go to this LeBron-Austin two-man game, it's just switch, right? So because of the switch, there's no driving lane. That's the whole point. It's all about baked-in driving lanes, right? So if Cade's chasing and Tobias steps up, LeBron's going to roll and he's going to be wide open. But Cade's not chasing. He's switching and Tobias is just containing. Now they're going to turn back and go to the post. And Cade just did a really nice job all night just forcing LeBron into these right shoulder fades. Another one, too, like you guys saw the play that got overturned. Isaiah Stewart all night long on LeBron post-ups, whether it was Jackson Hayes or Anthony Davis, did such a nice job putting himself in position where it's like, hey, if you come this way, I'm going to be there waiting for you at the rim. He looked like he pissed LeBron off in that late third quarter stretch, and I was like, this could get ugly. But again, a shout out to the Pistons. They talked a lot of shit last night, and they backed it up. Here's an example of just like when the Lakers get into space that can look slow sometimes. This time, Jaden Ivey just absolutely toasts LeBron James off the dribble. So double team of Cade in the post. Cade just did a wonderful job attacking matchups all night. But the big problem here is LeBron straight up one-on-one against Ivey, and Ivey just goes right by him to the rim. Here's Cade hunting Austin Reaves. So Rui starts the possession on him, and he did some work against Rui too, but it's here comes the screen to get Austin on the switch. Just goes hard dribble move to the right, absorbs the contact, and just turns the corner on him and makes that little easy floater in the lane. This time, the Lakers actually were able to get a favorable matchup in a switch. And this is where you got to be a little bit more diligent, right? So I like how they're using LeBron out of the post to get a switch. So here's the post. On this particular possession, they don't have as many of their big bodies out there, right? They just have Cade and they have Stu. So with Cade and Stu, they're going to switch any LeBron AD action. So they want to get Austin into the action so they can force a switch. On the handoff, he gets the switch and gets inside position on Ivy. Then they're able to kind of throw it to him on that seal and he gets an easy layup. But once again, look at Stewart again. This is a tough bank shot because Stu does a great job coming over and contesting LeBron off of AD. This is another one of those possessions where Austin just like really struggled at the point of attack. Watch him just die on the screen. There's just nothing there, just no effort on the ball. And he just kind of gives up the hard drive that forces LeBron to hard help, which forces Rui to rotate. Draw the foul on the Ron Holland draws the foul driving at AD at the basket. But like, again, like as we go back here, just Austin's clearly gassed. Like, this big possession, fourth quarter possession, he's clearly gassed. He clearly doesn't trust his foot to move. Like, I think he needs to take a couple of days off. Here's another play where Jaden Ivey's just going right at Austin Reaves. Doing the same thing that Austin does to people sometimes, where he just kind of drives in there and gets that contact. When the Lakers ran action, the other play I don't have in here, but right after this, they ran a horn set again in a ball screen and got the game down to 5. This is when the Lakers cut it to 103-98. But when they ran action against the switching, they were having more success, and I'm a little disappointed that they didn't stick with this more often down the stretch. But here's an example off of action. We're going to get AD comes and sets the screen on Tobias, inside position, easy over the top pass, finish. When they were more diligent about it, they were better. Again, they ran a ball screen on the very next possession. It was like a double drag, I think, if I remember correctly, out of horns, and they ended up getting a dunk for Anthony Davis. But it was just too much dribbling the ball up the floor, trying to attack against a switch and just not getting good stuff out of it. Here's that ridiculous left shoulder fade that Cade Cunningham hit over Rui Hachimura. This is, again, not even with the size advantage. He's giving up weight here. But look at how he bumps Rui. And Rui's always struggled to hold his ground, but Rui kind of gives up that angle on that bump there. And really, really nice little fadeaway jump shot from Cade. And then this was inevitably going to start happening. So as the Lakers were getting cooked on these ISOs, it was inevitable that they were going to have to start shading towards the ball more. So this time, I believe Cade goes at Austin on this one. Let's see. He's clearing the side so that he can get his ISO. Gets his ISO. Now we're digging down, right? So Cade's been causing problems for Austin. We're digging down now. The inevitable counter to that is, what if you just get beat by a swing pass and a three-point shot? And that's what Jaden Ivey does. Big-time shot from Jaden Ivey, who was awesome all night. All right, moving on to Pacers Mavs. This was a nice little split cut action from the Pacers. They, again, playing a lot through Pascal in the post. Split cut. 2 worst defenders on the floor for the Mavs involved in the play. We're going to have Obi Toppin's going to fake like he's setting a flare screen on Luka. So as you watch, as he comes over to set that flare screen on Luka, Ben Shepherd's kind of breaking, so he's going to talk switch, right? So Luka's going to be like, hey, Clay, you switch out. I'll take Toppin as he comes over. But Toppin's like, wait. Luka's going to guard me, but he's standing way the hell out here. So he goes, fine, I'm just going to cut. Luka's not paying attention. Nice pass from Siakam. Gets a bucket. Really nice split action there from the Pacers. A little bit of Luka hunting that we saw in this game. In this case, Ben Mathurin going at Luka in space. Again, just he's got his matchup, clear the side. They clear the wing so that there's more space. They interchange, gets beat off the dribble, gets the end one. Luka's looked pretty slow here in the early part of the season. You can tell what that calf injury just kind of disrupted his conditioning to start the year. Here's another example of that inside seal that we talk about. So Dinwiddie tries to screen. Halliburton hedges and recovers. So then they go to set it again, but this time they know the hedge is coming. So right when Halliburton goes to hedge out, Dinwiddie, look at the angle of the screen. He's not screening to get Kyrie a drive. He's screening to get inside position. Watch him bump. Yeah, look at where he's setting the screen. That's all in order to trigger that hedge and get his little opportunity to roll downhill. Tyrese gambles and misses it. Dinwiddie makes a nice little floater in the lane. Easy basketball. Here's a made basket by Dinwiddie. Watch how Dinwiddie falls over and look at how quickly Indiana capitalizes on it. Run up the floor. It's 5-on-4. Where's our advantage? Oh, Nembhard's wide open on the right corner. Close out. Hard jab step. Easy drive. Again, taking advantage of the 5-on-4 in transition because of Dinwiddie falling over. Another transition push. Look at the floor balance here, guys. So I've got one player above the break. I think it's PJ Washington. I've got Luka that's below the break, Klay Thompson below the break, Kyrie Irving below the break, and Daniel Gafford below the break. So bad floor balance, and then jogging on the side, quick run up the floor, easy layup. A really bad transition defense, and Indiana definitely put their foot speed on display in that game. Let's see. This was a really nice offensive rebound for Miles Turner, just poking it out on Luka. That causes the offensive rebound. And then Tyrese Halliburton finds himself wide open in the middle of the lane, hits the shot that ends up being your dagger. Miles Turner had a really nice game in this one. I wanted to just kind of show an example. So Miles Turner had 30, did a bunch of damage in the post when Dallas went to centerless looks. And then he also did some damage in pick and pop situations. I just wanted to kind of show you an example of beating ice coverage without having to set a screen. So again, this is setting up to be a ball screen, right? So clear side ball screen. Halliburton's going to come off of Miles Turner, right? But watch, if you look at the most NBA teams are going to ice side ball screens. Ice meaning try to reject the use, force the ball handler to reject the screen and force him towards the sideline. So Clay is going to jump way onto the high side here. He jumps onto the high side to force Tyrese Halliburton to go. Gafford's there to kind of corral. You're trying to force Tyrese into some sort of like tougher, kind of like contested mid-range shot in this area around the short corner. But notice Turner doesn't even bother setting a screen. There's no reason for him to set the screen because it's an ice. If he sets the screen, Halliburton's just going to have to reject it anyway. So instead, Turner stops and pops because he knows Gafford is the other half of the ice coverage. The ice coverage is to corral Halliburton in this area of the floor. But in order to corral Halliburton, they have to use the big in a drop. The best counter for a drop is a pop. We're popping to Turner here. Tyrese does a nice job dragging it further down. The further you drag it down, the longer the rotation. Gets a straight up wide open look for Miles Turner. I also like it when teams use the pick and pop just to get the defense in rotation. Here's an example of that from the Knicks game. So normally this would be Karl Anthony Towns, but they're actually guarding Josh Hart with the center, which is something that we saw Boston do on opening night. And like I said, it's copycat league. You're going to see lots of teams continue to do that. They do that because Karl Towns is the more dangerous above the break shooter. And so you put a wing on him so that if they go Brunson Towns ball screens, they can just switch them. But if you run if you put your center on Josh Hart, he essentially becomes the guy that has to pick and pop, and he's not as good of a shooter, right? But what I like about this is that you do it anyway as an opportunity to just get the defense in rotation. So as you can see, it's going to look just like a typical ball screen, right? Brunson tries to turn the corner. Şengün is dropping. Josh Hart pops, right? Josh Hart pops. Here's our closeout opportunity, right? Just shows the ball. That forces the closeout, beats him off the dribble. Now, boom, right here, got a 5-on-3, right? Or 5-on-4, right? In the 5-on-4, Brunson relocates over to the wing, swing out. That forces Jalen Green to rotate. Wide open shot for Mikal Bridges in the right corner. Knocks it down. Beautiful basketball. Again, just trusting to get the defense in rotation off of the pick and pop by getting a closeout. Watch it full speed one more time. Closeout, beats it, swing, wide open three. Here's a really nice example of the Rockets playing defense to get in transition. Once again, notice they trust Amen Thompson here, so no one's over-helping. They're not allowing for easy kick-out opportunities. They trust Thompson. Does a nice job beating Brunson to the spot, forcing him into a tough fadeaway jump shot. Gets a great contest. Now watch Houston's speed in transition. Everyone's home off the ball. There was no kick-out opportunity. That also makes it easier for you to rebound, right? Get the offensive or defensive rebound. Couple of Knicks are slow. We got an opportunity to run the floor here. Jalen Green pushes out with pace. Notice how Jalen Green beats both of these two with just straight line speed. Now you're dead to rights. Now I've got a 2-on-1. The 2-on-1, Karl Towns has to step up to stop Jalen Green. So Tari Eason ends up getting the reverse layup. Nice defense to transition sequence there from the Rockets. This was unbelievable. Watch this short roll slip from Amen Thompson. This was one of my favorite plays from last night. So once again, we're trying to attack Brunson, right? Brunson's going to hedge like most small guards do in this situation. When he goes to throw his hedge, though, here comes the hedge. Boom. As he throws the hedge, Thompson slips. Thompson on the slip. Watch him on the catch throw a pass fake to Van Vliet in the corner. Watch Mikal Bridges completely bite on the pass fake. Then he just goes right into his hop step dunk. Unbelievable play on the short roll from Amen Thompson. And again, remember coming into the NBA draft, the number one kind of like offensive skill that everyone was excited about with Amen Thompson was his playmaking ability and his feel for the game. All right. This was the Jalen Brown dagger three, just a ridiculous shot. Kind of, he hit the one against Dallas over on this side of the floor, but he gets a double team on another screening action to try to attack Brunson. And it doesn't matter about the double team. He just rises over the top and hits the shot. Really nice piece of shot making from Jalen Green, who's done that 2 games now. All right, let's move on to Kings Heat. In this one, we've got DeMar DeRozan creating his own shot against Bam Adebayo in a switch. Again, hedge and recover with Harrow. How much of a luxury is it that he can end up in a switch against some of the best defensive players in the league and still create his own bucket? I thought this was a beautiful post feed. Again, so we got a switch here, right? So Rozier is guarding DeRozan. Bam is on Sabonis. DeRozan rejects the screen and forces the switch. So now Bam is on DeRozan. Now Rozier is on Sabonis. So Sabonis runs down to the block. Rozier does what the Miami Heat always do with post mismatches. They always front the post. Keegan Murray here is in the corner, though, which makes it really tough for Jimmy to bracket it. Miami typically wants to bracket their post front, meaning they want to put the post, but they want somebody in this area. So if you throw the over-the-top pass, they can get in there and disrupt it. In this case, DeMar DeRozan, perfect over-the-top feed to Sabonis, easy bucket. This was a really interesting sequence where the Heat on back-to-back possessions spammed their double drag action, but tweaked it on the second time and made it harder on themselves. So here's the double drag run with 2 occupied corners, okay? The 2 occupied corners create a much larger gap for Tyler Herro to operate with over here to try to turn the corner, which obviously allows Malik Monk to help, but then you have a kick-out pass over here in the left corner. So watch on this play. As Herro comes this way, there's so much space over here that he's able to drag Sabonis's hedge and turn the corner. When he drags Sabonis's hedge and turns the corner, that allows Bam Adebayo to get behind Sabonis. When Bam gets behind Sabonis, and remember, that's the action of the double drag, Jimmy's going to pop, Bam's going to roll, right? So Jimmy pops, Bam rolls, but Bam gets behind the entirety of the 3-man defense of the action. That forces Malik Monk to step up and tag. Then Tyler turns the corner, makes a beautiful kick-out pass to Rozier, who hits the 3. But here's the weird part. They go down the other end. This is the next possession for the Kings. DeRozan ends up catching Tyler Herro's hand in the cookie jar. Notice right there, as soon as DeRozan feels that contact right there, he knows he's shooting. DeRozan knows right there as a read. Got my hand in the left. This is that high hesitation, right? Left hand high hesitation is a bridge move. He can go to anything from there. He can shoot from there. He can drive left from there. He can cross over, go between the legs, behind the back from there. He can do everything. He can do a step back from there and in and out dribble. He can do everything from that high hesitation. That's his decision-making dribble. Every really good ball handler makes their decisions at a high hesitation because it bridges to whatever they need to do from there, right? Sitting in his high hesitation, Tyler Herro's left arm is in on DeMar DeRozan's right hand. So now DeMar DeRozan knows right away, I'm gathering into the 3, catches his hand in there, hits it. Now it's a 4-point play. Now it's 108-107. So again, now Miami just ran an action and scored out of a double drag, right? So let's do the exact same thing, right? Don't fix what isn't broke. For whatever reason, they decide to load up the side that they're driving to and keep this left corner wide open. So now, as Tyler Herro comes off of this, off the double drag, look at how much more congestion there is in this area. Now, like, there's just no area for Tyler Herro to turn the corner. Sabonis also doesn't hedge quite as hard, but even then, Tyler's probably going to look to drive this more if it's not so congested in here. And instead, he ends up having to snake the ball screen and take a really tough 15-foot fadeaway. Now, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the idea is, part of it is like, okay, maybe we're going to set a pin-in flare, right? So like Pelle Larsson, shout out there as a Wildcat, sets a nice little pin-in flare to try to generate Rozier a decent look, but I still think they get a contest there. The only real defense for this, I think, is if you're trying to clear the side, if Herro wants to kick back for a Butler ISO. So like then it's like, okay, if it doesn't work here, you work it back over to this side and Butler has a cleared side. My thing is like, it just worked with occupied corners, so why not run it again and see if you can't get the exact same look? You know what I mean? That was just a little bit confusing, but again, I'm being kind of nitpicky there. Interestingly enough, the Heat were leaving Tyler Herro on an island against DeRozan on this possession, which I thought was strange, again, especially with Jimmy Butler on Keegan Murray. But one of the things I talk about all the time with really good pull-up shooters is don't worry so much about trying to contest the shot. Focus on attacking down low, right? We talked about that with Russell Westbrook. Watch Tyler Herro wait for DeRozan to expose the ball and swipe it. Again, he's not even looking at the contest. He's just looking at attacking the pocket. Really nice defense, draws the foul, hits both free throws. Now we're up 3. They end up going back to Jimmy, just like we were talking about. They finally go to Jimmy on DeRozan here. But Terry Rozier digs down. Once again, Jimmy too. Notice Jimmy's attacking the pocket. Reaching, attacking the pocket. Terry probably shouldn't have dug down there, but he did. That forces the closeout. Boom. Malik Monk beats the closeout. Just ridiculous jackhammer dunk. And then here we are on the final possession. Notice Sabonis on this swim move. Good defense from Pelle Larsson, by the way. How about Pelle Larsson, the rookie, earning the trust of Eric Spoelstra here down the stretch? Beats De'Aaron Fox to the spot. Impromptu double team from Jimmy Butler. Only thing with the Jimmy Butler double team is he's one of the guys that's in position to secure the defensive rebound. So in this case, you probably trust Pelle because there's so much time left. But because Jimmy leaves the rebound situation, now it's a 4-on-3 down here, but DeRozan has inside position. And watch Sabonis, just a little subtle shove on Bam, gets the separation, hits the little pop shot, knocks it down. So yeah, like a couple of impromptu double teams from Terry Rozier and from Jimmy Butler down the stretch that cost Miami there. All right, on to Warriors Wizards. Here was a really nice play where Jonathan Kuminga in transition. Notice again on this possession, he's in transition, steps up the floor. I thought this was a moment of growth for Jonathan Kuminga. Watch as he's looking for Steph the whole time. Tracks him down, hits him in the right corner for three. Again, if you want to play the Warriors system, and this isn't like, oh, we're catering things for Steph, you better throw the ball to Steph whenever you can, because there's aren't many play types in the league that are as valuable as a Steph Curry anything from the three-point line. All right, this is that sequence of actions where Steph was attacking Jordan Poole. Steph really just put Jordan Poole in the blender here in this late third quarter stretch. So we're going to run it out of split. So we're going to throw the post entry to Looney, and then we're going to set this flare screen for Jordan Poole. But Steph picks up. Jordan does a good job chasing. But now for Steph, he knows that Jordan is recklessly chasing, and so he knows his best chance is to bait him into committing a dumb foul. So notice how he pump fakes, gets him closer, kind of dribbles into him, gets into this spot right here. Once again, he knows Jordan's being way over aggressive in his pursuit, so he just leans back into him and takes the floater and draws the foul. Little veteran gamesmanship there from Steph Curry. Same exact thing on the next time down the floor. This time, Looney sets a much better screen. So now when Looney sets the much better screen, it's hard to do this. This is what the Warriors do to you too. They wear you down with their screening actions. You start to get tired. Jordan's chasing. He's working. Boom. Looney lays the wood. That generates a separation. Valanciunas is a little bit more on the contain side of this. So when Steph hits the step back, he overplays the step back. That allows Steph to get separation, hit the 15-footer. That then runs into this next possession. Valanciunas just had a step back jump shot hit in his face by Steph Curry, right? So now on this play, he's going to step further out. We're going to run a ball screen here with Looney. This time, Valanciunas has to come way out because he knows Steph just hit a pull-up jump shot. That causes the roll to be wide open. Looney gets the layup. Great little athletic finish from Kevon Looney, too. Okay, so we're 3 for 3 here. Steph ends up drawing another foul on the next possession, gets free throws. Then on this possession, he actually misses a layup on this one, but this was a great example of a read in the split cut as well. So same thing on the opposite end of the floor. They're setting it up the same way they did, just as a mirror image. Jordan Poole is top blocking this time, though. He's trying to prevent Steph from coming back this way towards the screen. So what's the read? The read is just cut. And he does. Hard cut. Kuminga hits him. Just smokes the layup on this one. But really smart gamesmanship from Steph Curry in the late third quarter stretch of this game. Last one from this late third quarter run, Chicago into a Reaves screen. So this is that Chicago or zoom action, right? So you're having a pin down into a dribble handoff. But watch how it works. Steph sets the first screen. They switch it. Then Looney comes over and sets the next screen for Curry. Now he's got his defender in trail position, right? Now that the defender's in trail position, if Steph fakes anything downhill this way, this defender is going to react to it. Watch how Steph gives it one hard step. Boom. That forces that hard step. Now he's done. It's over. He's already lost the battle. He reacted to that step from Steph. That gets him plenty of separation. And then the beauty with Steph, the thing that everybody doesn't account for enough is how strong his legs are and how quick he is at resetting his base. Watch this hard step back move. Watch the end of the shot, though. So now he's going to push really hard off of that right foot, and then he's going to get both feet back. Boom. Notice how both of his feet are at a 45-degree angle back the other way. It's because he's stopping all of his backward momentum. All of his momentum is carrying him away from the basket. So he's stopping that on a dime and meeting it with opposite force so that he can go straight up and down. Notice how it's still good. He jumped 45 degrees, but he went straight up and down because he had all of his momentum going the other way. The straight up and down open look for Steph Curry is going to go in well over 40% of the time. Hits that one, puts the Warriors back up double digits. Beautiful basketball from Steph Curry. This was funny too. I lied. There's one more. So now Jordan Poole's pissed off, right? He's frustrated. Steph's been giving him the business. Now he's just going to commit a foul in the backcourt. Oh, that's not even Jordan Poole, is it? But again, frustrates him, gets him to commit a silly foul in the backcourt. All right, let's move forward here. Okay, this is a really nice inside seal from Jayson Tatum. This is bread and butter for the Celtics when they're attacking switching defenses. Kick out. Watch Jayson Tatum. He's getting ready to screen the inside side, right? Screen. Trying to force that switch. Easy over the top pass. That forces the step over from Garrison Matthews. Easy kick out pass to Derek White. Beautiful Celtics basketball. This is an example of how to beat a dig down without necessarily shooting the basketball, but by rather just cutting. They're going to dribble through. They're going to kick it back out. It's going to turn into a Tatum ISO. But with our Tatum ISO, here's our setup, right? Dyson Daniels on the ball. Garrison Matthews digging down. Jrue Holiday's here on the left wing. Notice Garrison doesn't see Jrue Holiday cutting through. Tatum just throws an easy pass. Again, if you're going to offer hard help, we talked about this in the Lakers Pistons game. That's where you have to prove the ability to score off the ball. Jrue Holiday does it there with a cut and a nice pass from Jayson Tatum. This is a really nice corner kick from Jayson Tatum. Once again, nothing. This is good defense. Garrison Matthews is going to throw a good closeout, but watch the pass. The pass is on time, on target, right in the shooting pocket. So even though Garrison Matthews gets a great closeout, Hauser's able to go straight up with it. And that makes the closeout worthless. Hits a three. And then here's just Jayson Tatum step backs. I want the first two in particular. The third one is just like outstanding shot making. But this is where I want to show you the footwork element. As Tatum's coming off against Dyson Daniels, watch the hard dribble move before the step back. Right here. Ready? Right. Boom. Right there. That's the fake drive. Again, everything is about the move and the counter move. Nothing works unless everybody respects both sides of your move. If they don't respect the drive, they can overplay the shot. If they don't respect the shot, they can overplay the drive. In this case, that hard step with his left foot causes, now watch Dyson Daniels' reaction to that step. Dyson Daniels' reaction to that step brings him well down to the top of the key. That allows Jayson Tatum to settle into the step back three. And once again, notice it's straight up and down. Notice the leg work is done early. Boom. Straight up and down at the end. It looks like this crazy jump shot. It's not. It's a standstill, wide open shot that he generated with outstanding footwork and ball handling. Let's look at another one. This one's on the left wing. Same sort of thing. Watch the hard step. Step. Boom. Hard step on that right-handed drive. Watch how the defender reacts. His left foot, the defender's left foot comes all the way down to the elbow. That allows Tatum to get the separation he needs to knock the shot down. And then this last one wasn't even about footwork. It was just a ridiculous shot over Trae Young. Incredible shot making from Jayson Tatum. All right, that is all I have for today. As always, I sincerely appreciate you guys for supporting me and supporting the show. So no games tonight for the election. So the plan as of right now is tomorrow I have the Nerd Sesh guys coming on. And we're going to be bouncing around the league talking about a bunch of different stuff. I think we're going to do kind of like a buy or sell segment is what I'm thinking. Buying or selling early season trends. So that should be fun. We haven't seen the nerds in a little while. We'll do that. Then we'll be back on Thursday with more game reaction and tape. And then I got a big mailbag for you guys on Friday because we got a weak Thursday slate. So make sure you keep dropping mailbag questions in the YouTube comments. I appreciate you guys for supporting me, and I'll see you next time.